What are custom exceptions in C#, and why do we need them? Let's take a look at a quick example first, and then I will get into more details. Let's say you are building an online store system and you have a class that processes orders. In some cases, an order might fail to process for various reasons that are specific to your business logic. One of them could be that the product is out of stock. You could create a custom exception for this situation like this. Here, product out of stock exception is a custom exception that has an additional product ID property. When the exception is thrown, it can include the product ID that is out of stock. This would provide more context to the error, which can be very helpful during debugging. And then in your order processing code, you could use it like this. This custom exception makes your code more expressive and helps other developers understand the specific business logic error. Just a side note. Generally, it's considered bad practice to use exceptions for controlling the normal flow of a program. Exceptions are for exceptional conditions and should only be used for error handling. They are relatively expensive in terms of system resources, and if used for regular flow control, can make the code harder to read and understand. For regular flow control, consider using if-else statements, switch statements, loop constructs, or other programming logic. For instance, in the previous example with the product out of stock exception, if it's a common occurrence that a product may be out of stock and it's part of the regular functioning of the system to handle this, then this may not be the best use of an exception. Now, let's take a look at another simple example. Here, custom exception is derived from the base exception class. The three constructors match those in the base exception class, allowing you to create a custom exception with no arguments, with a string message argument, and with a message and an inner exception arguments. You can use this custom exception in your code like this. If you want to provide more specific information, you can add additional properties to your custom exception. For example, you might add a severity level property to indicate the severity of the exception. Custom exceptions can make it easier to understand and handle errors because they provide specific information about the error circumstances. But why do we need to create custom exceptions? Well, for several reasons. Specificity. The built-in exceptions provided by the .NET framework are general purpose and are designed to cover a broad range of error conditions. However, there might be certain error conditions that are unique to your application. In these cases, it is beneficial to create custom exceptions that clearly signal what went wrong. Readability. The custom exceptions can help make your code more readable. When other developers see a custom exception, they immediately understand that it is an error condition defined by the application, rather than a system or .NET error. Consistency. If your application has a consistent approach to error handling, it will be easier to debug and maintain. Using custom exceptions can form part of this strategy, as it allows you to handle all errors in a consistent manner. Extra information. Custom exceptions can carry additional information about the error. For instance, if you have an exception that occurs when a user tries to access a resource they do not have permissions for, a custom exception could contain additional data about the user, the resource, and the operation they were trying to perform. Better error handling. With custom exceptions, you can create more specific catch blocks to handle specific errors in a more tailored way. Remember, custom exceptions should be used judiciously. Overuse can lead to complexity. They are best used for signaling errors in your application's domain logic, rather than for problems that can be expressed using the built-in exceptions. This was a quick tutorial about the use of custom exceptions in C#. If you want to test your C# knowledge, feel free to visit our website codeprepping.com, where we have hundreds of interview questions with answers. Thank you for watching.